Fantastic. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Karen. Working behind the scenes is such a smooth operation, isn't it? An easy transfer of information, and you don't get the wrong dates or the wrong times for me. Like, you don't depend on me, to give you correct information. It's lovely. Thank you so much.
Everyone's liberated.
Everyone's liberated, right? Exactly. And we all get to where we need to be. Right? Um, so wonderful to see everyone in the space tonight or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to those of you who are new as well. Feel free to say hello in the chat box. If you're new, that would be wonderful. And if you're just returning, fantastic. And shout out to those who came for the first time recently. You had no idea what you were getting into, but you were pleasantly surprised. Shout out to you as well for sticking with it. I think we should give people like a button or a token or something, if you come back. Um, so yeah, I'm Lama Rod, in case if you are not familiar with me. I'm here on the ancestral lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee communities and people who are still very present on this land. And deep gratitude to the land, to the earth itself. And I always encourage everyone to offer appreciation to the lands, right? That's holding you like every day, right? Just a really simple acknowledgement and greeting, it can be quite powerful um, in deepening our connection or tethering to the earth, right? Which is what we're very much needing is more tethering, more grounding, right? Um, so I can't wait to see people this weekend as well. We're going to be doing lots of earth practice as well in Durham. So can't wait for that. Um, but awesome. Well, let's shift into practice um today. And so as always, let's begin by settling our bodies. Let's locate our bodies. Let's notice where we are. Begin to call yourself in from the past and calling yourself in from the future, returning back to this moment. Returning back to everything that's arising in this moment, to pay attention, to know. To know is such a big part of our liberation. To be aware, and awareness to hold, right? To hold, to allow whatever is arising to arise. In this level of practice of awareness and holding, we're not judging anything. We're just allowing whatever's there to be there. Even if we can't stand it, we still let it be there. It still, in a way, deserves to be there. And in the context of liberatory contemplative practice, then we always have to tell the truth about what's happening in the moment, even though we may not like it. Mm. And this whole liberation struggle from the mental to the spiritual to the social and the political, right? So much of this path is having to get over our attachment to having to like things, to do things. I think you have to disrupt that. I haven't liked half the shit that I've had to do to be here right now in this body. right? But I just did it because this is what it means to get free from suffering. This is what it means to connect to the nature of my mind, to be present to what's arising, right? And this is often what I call the internalizing of discipline. Internalizing of discipline means that we just stop thinking about shit and just do it. You know, should I get free? Right? Is it a good idea? Or like maybe I can just put this off till tomorrow. See, that's thinking about doing work. That's not work, right? The work is saying yes to the struggle, saying yes to the moment, right? Showing up, leaning into what's arising, not running away, not distracting ourselves, but finding our grounding, finding the earth, letting the earth hold us, letting our bodies be, letting the breath be, letting the mind be, and just showing up. And in that showing up, what happens is you're going to have to like experience shit. You're going to have to feel shit. That feeling or that experiencing of phenomena is what slowly begins to open the door to these profound realizations, right? When we begin to really experience how there's no there, right? How there's no there. That is the realization of emptiness, realization that there was never no there, that there was never anywhere to get to, that there was never any path to start, that you were never working, that you were never struggling, that you have never ever fallen out of your awakened states, but instead you've gotten just a little distracted. Right? Once you get to the end of the path of awakening, and I feel that all of you will sometime in the future, maybe not in this practice tonight, but I guarantee you, you're on the path, right? But when you get there, when you get to the threshold of awakening, the joke, the punchline will be delivered. And you may not laugh, right? It may not be ha ha, right? But it will definitely release you, right? From everything that you thought you were doing, right? Because once you get to the end, you're like, fuck it, I'm at the end. Who cares how I got here? You know? But until then, maybe we are experiencing struggling and effort and doing, which feels exhausting. So let me add another instruction, which is to rest. Can you just show up? Can you be present and just rest in the present? Not worrying about necessarily everything that's arising or coming and going, unless it feels overwhelming. In that case, you want to make some choices, right? But if it doesn't feel overwhelming, or if you're just like, just don't want to deal with something because it's just an inconvenience, well, we can deal with that. But this showing up to the moment, coming back to the moment, allowing things to be is the hardest work, actually. And to do it effortlessly, which is the goal, without effort, to just be, to just arrive, to just find yourself opening and expanding into this limitless space, expanding your awareness through and around the illusions of phenomena, be them external or internal, be them thoughts or emotions, or things that you're experiencing outwardly in the space around you. So let's continue. Let's continue by shifting our attention to the seats, to the weight of our bodies, allowing the seat to rise to hold us, allowing our bodies to surrender to being held. Feeling how the seat is expressing nothing but the most profound care for you. And can you accept that care? Can you surrender into a real experience of vulnerability, openness, expansion? Really opening to the space of truth telling. And wherever you find yourself in this moment is your truth in this moment. You don't have to like it, you just have to acknowledge it. But feeling the support of the seat and then allowing our awareness to shift and float lower, touching into the earth. And our awareness touching into the earth is very subtle. It's a very abstract experience. But the practice becomes easier when you understand that to simply think about the land or the earth is to touch the earth. There's nothing else needed. We're not physically touching the earth right now, even though that's important to physically touch and greet the land as well. Simply just thinking about the earth is touching the earth. And allow your conceptions or thinking of the earth to expand into the awakening of the earth as a Buddha, as the mother, fully conscious, awakened, intentional, caring. Can we allow ourselves to be mothered by the earth? And what does mothering mean for you? Besides all the difficult relationships you may have with your actual mother or caretaker. But what is real mothering? Like the kind of mothering we receive from Tara, or the kind of mothering you receive from Kali, if you get off on that. If that's your thing, it's all an expression of fierce love. There's so much falling apart and collapsing. And when everything's falling apart, we have to take refuge in the things that are constants, that are responding to collapse by becoming refuge and foundation and stability. Let the earth mother you and catch you as you spin through this chaos. And again, it's just a surrender. It's just a letting go. And just for a few moments, I invite you to imagine how the energy, this loving energy of the earth begins to rise, to ascend, slowly beginning to kind of like wrap us in this energy of like grounding and stability, or beginning to wrap you in whatever you need right now. Because in this moment, the earth can become what we need, which is what any Buddha or Bodhisattva has the capacity to do, to become the medicine that is needed. What medicine do you need from the earth right now? Just a few more seconds here. And so when you're ready, I invite you to imagine that the energy, the radiance of the earth around you begins to pour into the world around you, that the whole world becomes saturated and held in this energy, this medicine of the earth. Imagining even further that even like things that we've been praying about or things that we're struggling with becomes deeply saturated by this energy of the earth. So everything, the earth, all phenomena are slowly being held or suspended within this energy of the earth. That somehow everything feels tethered and grounded and stable. And for a moment, get into this. Like, what does it feel like to imagine the world stabilizing, grounding, becoming orderly, opposed to chaotic? And so slowly, I invite you to imagine that this energy of the earth begins to radiate like warm, soft, white light, holding everything, but slowly beginning to saturate all phenomena, as if everything around us is slowly beginning to radiate in the warm glow of Earth's medicine. And slowly everything dissolves into this white radiance. And all of this light and all the world begins to gather into an orb in front of you. That all this light has collected into this orb that's maybe 5 or 6 feet in front of you, just above eye level. And we don't have to see anything. We don't have to be great visualizers or anything. We don't have to feel it, don't have to see it. But I encourage you to trust that whatever I'm narrating is happening, even if you're struggling to connect to that for yourself. And with this orb of light, which has dissolved all phenomena into it, we turn our attention to our first mantra, Minla Sangye Kino Soha, which we will chant 3 times, but we will begin by chanting Om. And then after we chant 3 times, we end with another Om. Right? Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me. And as we chant this, imagining that this orb of light responding to our chanting begins to transform into Medicine Buddha. And again, Medicine Buddha can take on the form of any healer, any being or representation that embodies ultimate healing for us. Let this orb of light transform into this being, because it would still be an emanation of Medicine Buddha, regardless of what appears. So we turn our attention to the mantra, beginning with Om. Om Lazange Hino Soha. Om Lazange Hino Soha. Om Lazange Kino Soa. Returning back to a natural breath, having imagined that this orbital light transforms into the medicine Buddha we need to practice with in this session. We also imagine that around this medicine Buddha, in the skies, and perhaps the darkness around them, all of these orbs of light begin to appear like stars in the sky in the galaxy, as if the medicine Buddha is the moon, and back of it, of the moon, all of these stars, and how these stars are simply the retinue of medicine Buddha, all the great healing spirits in all the worlds and all the timelines gathering with you, accompanying medicine Buddha in front of you. And in the space around you, your back and to your sides, I want you to imagine all of your benefactors appearing. All the beings who love you, who want you to be free, who are working to get you free. Imagine that all of these beings begin to appear around you and in back of you. And filling all of your benefactors with you, while also noticing this medicine Buddha and all of their retinue in front of you. I want us in our individual practice to take time to articulate what we most need right now to happen. This can be for yourself, for others. But as you begin to articulate what you most need to happen, the real blessings that you need right now, you're imagining that all of your benefactors are saying this or verbalizing this need with you. So you feel the power of them adding their will, their care to your supplication. And we are offering this supplication to Medicine Buddha and their retinue. All these sources of refuge that are here to listen, to open to what we most need, and to try to bring about what we most need to happen. So just for a moment, for a minute, beginning to articulate what you most need to see happen in your life or in the lives of others, feeling all of your benefactors, really all of your countless benefactors, making the supplication with you to Medicine Buddha and all of the retinue. Just a few more seconds. And so slowly coming to a pause. And having offered the supplication to Medicine Buddha and their retinue, you imagine that they all accept the supplication, and then hearing them vow to help bring about the fruition of these supplications. And in return, we begin to slowly imagine Medicine Buddha in front of us, beginning to radiate even more intensely. And how that radiance begins to wrap us up, to slowly begin to saturate our bodies, filling it with this light of radiance. And this radiance is the blessing from Medicine Buddha that can start bringing about the fruition of all that we've been asking for. So feeling this light, this radiance awaken and take root in your body and in your mind, experiencing your mind filling up with light, your body filling up with this light, feeling yourself begin to radiate just like Medicine Buddha in front of you. and knowing that this radiance is the energy that's beginning to bring our supplications, our prayers to fruition. And as we turn our attention to our main mantra, I invite you to simply rest in this radiance, rest in the light, surrendering to the light, letting yourself be held by this light. With no further agendas or goals, but simply just to rest in this light of fruition as we begin our mantra. Teata om bekenze ma bekenze razu sumungate soha. And like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we all may be liberated. And so it goes, and so it must be. Be open to this mantra. Begenze ma begenze razu sumunga te soha de anda begenze begenze ma begenze razu sumunga te soha de anda begenze ma begenze razu sumunga te soha 라서 수문가를 도와 대하라 원배견세 배견세 마배견세 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 라서 수문가를 도와. Yeah, I'm just turning my attention to the prayer requests, and again, I call the attention of all our sources of refuge, the medicine Buddha, all of the retinue, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and beings of light and spirits and benevolent ancestors gathering with us to continue to hold these prayers on our behalf. We offer a prayer of immense gratitude for this holiday I'm having, offering this rejoicing for going to see Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for the benefit of all beings. May we all get to enjoy life. Prayers for healing my relationship with my daughter, Heaven. Prayers for Nana Jane, who is going through pain associated with aging. Prayers for all beings incarcerated at Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, for all those separated from loved ones who are suffering alone. May they receive hope and consolation to keep going. May I submit to today's agitation and spiritual blindness with faith and self-compassion. Prayers for the well-being and full life of my girl. Prayers for Terry and Billy as they deal with this new diagnosis of congestive heart failure. Prayers for Jay and Jay as they deal with career transitions. Prayers for me that I do the work I get to do to support our collective liberation. Prayers for the osprey who lost their beautiful nest and possible littles in the last storms. May they rebuild and return. Prayers for the transition of Preta Gil, a singer and activist from Brazil that left us this weekend. Prayers for those who close and harden hearts, cause pain for others. Prayers for my uncle undergoing chemo and for my dear friend whose sister took her own life last week. Prayers to more fully become the practice every aspect of my life. Prayers I do good works and works. Prayers that I be healthy and safe to do as much as humanly possible toward liberation. Prayers for my beloved parents and my sib and their fam, for JN and A, and may all beings in all realms and timelines reach full liberation as soon as possible, and may the further sure be abolitionists, especially free of castes. May I be less petty, to Ashio, compassion and right action for those who fear their families' health, safety, and lives. May all beings realize their true nature and manifest compassion and unconditional love for the benefit of all beings. May we love, dance, sing, and create together. Gratitude to Medicine Buddha and this community. My niece Grace has found her way through suicidality and found love and a place to belong. Gratitude for Scott's continued remarkable healing. May continue for a full recovery. Prayers for my own psychological healing as I digest the repetitive trauma patterns and hope for clarity to find my way out more quickly next time. Offering prayers for all those experiencing utterly avoidable starvation in Gaza and Sudan, and all those suffering at the hands of empire in bodily and spiritual ways everywhere. Prayers that those who move in fear and scarcity may experience the liberation they need to move in compassion. Prayers for all of us in disability community and for me and my body as I continue to suffer through many months of an autoimmune flare, forcing me to reckon daily with my mortality and the trauma of our broken systems. Prayers for all of us trying to care for each other in such times and conditions. Prayers for my friend DG, who recently received a cancer diagnosis, as well as all living with cancer and chronic illness and disease. Prayers that I continue with my Dharma practice and awaken why I'm still grieving the loss of my former teachers and Sangha. Prayers for and baby Addie that she gets the surgery she needs, heals and recovers, and that family receives the money they need for her surgery as quickly as possible. Gratitude for receiving the medicine. Gratitude for receiving the medicine I needed. Prayers for all migrant and refugee beings everywhere. Prayers for Kay, Joy, Melissa, Kathy, and Judith. Prayers for those threatened by ICE. Prayers for Hubert for the healing of his eyes and for his peace through the process. Prayers for all Dharma teachers in every form and in every place, on every land and every realm. Prayers I remember deeply that what is real is what is enough, and then I recover my agency and return to my path as quickly as possible. Prayers for the newly homeless elderly that now made our collective garden their temporary home. May they find strength to go through this difficult moment in their life. May they find the help they need as soon as possible. May they remain in health and in good spirit despite the hardships. May all recognize the nature of mind now. Prayers to all those suffering under all kinds of oppression. May we all feel supported, loved, and free. Prayers for Becca's restored health. Prayers for Andrew to open his clinic and realize his dreams to be a healer. Prayers that my sister and I can heal our relationship and give each other the benefit of the doubt. Prayers for Jamie's top surgery and their swift and easy recovery. Prayers for Ray and his family to be safe and to get support and protection they need. Prayers for my friend Bill Hanavan and his family as he undergoes treatment for a brain tumor. Prayers for the long lives, auspicious conditions, and support for our teachers, including Lama Rod, Rachel Wooten, and Eli. Medicine Buddha, please heal the hatred, greed, and ignorance in our world so we can heal fascism, heal the planet, and heal each other. Medicine Buddha, please protect and bring healing to all who are suffering under this administration and hegemony. Prayers for all survivors of sex and gender-based violence. Prayers for Nadia, who is facing ICE deportation. Prayers for A and Z as they face their suffering. Prayers that they feel supported, loved, and held by people on the earth. Prayers for those suffering from ignorance, including myself. Prayers for all beings who need care, a hug, or a friend. To anyone who feels lonely, to those who are starving, need medical support, or who are in war zones. May all beings be safe, free from all forms of suffering, and learn what peace feels like in their bodies. May my family, friends, and spiritual teachers have strong health and long lives. Let us not turn away from the discomfort of growth. May we turn towards the darkness that nourishes us as we give birth to being, knowing that we are enough, and may the unlearning continue as we wish the distortion of stories that are not our own. May we cultivate truth and clear seeing as we move towards liberation. May it be so. Medicine Buddha, transform my attachment to ease and comfort so that I may clearly and concisely and consistently act in service of all beings' liberation, that each word spoken, each choice made, each movement, each intention, source, form, emptiness itself, that my body and purpose become refuge. Prayers for my family and their awakening from delusion of comfort and nationalism. Prayers for Andrea Gibson, who left this earth far too soon, but left many gifts with their poetry and love. Prayers for all who have been, prayers for Joanna Macy, who transitioned into the Bardo on Saturday. Prayers for Elaine McKinley, still missing, and her partner Kit Durgan. Prayers for Elaine's sister Sandra, who transitioned recently into the Bardo. Prayers for the peace and healing wherever they are. Ongoing prayers for Ricky Joyner, that his chemo and radiation are successful and that he can heal and enjoy his life with Diane, his wife, and their children. Prayers for Anne E. as she heals from recent heart catheterization. Prayers for a sense of inner stability and love, purpose, and peace as I navigate the chaos, rather than feeling immensely overwhelmed by the suffering being unleashed all over the world, particularly by our government. Prayers for continued healing of body, mind, and spirit. Prayers that I may be able to surrender and rest deeply than just responding to a feeling of constant pressure to be doing. Prayers for the land, their protection, and for beings to awaken to knowing their love and support in every moment. Prayers for JNA, for continued healing, for prosperity and support for their coming transition. Prayers for MMP, for continued good health throughout their lives. Prayers for H and for his heart to remain tender and open through adolescence. Prayers for myself, for rest, ease, removal of all negativity for my family. Prayers for Mom, for peace and support. Prayers for SCENR, for closeness and openness. Prayers for M, that he accesses resources to learn, grow, change, and face rather than turn away from truth-telling. Offering prayers for my brother Patrick as he moves through the process of having cancer. Offering prayers for me to overcome the narrows of an ableist bureaucracy, that I may do the service of incarcerated men, for incarcerated men despite their setbacks. To help those powerful people move out of the way and let God's will be done. May the needed power be given to me if it is God's will. May I bring all my love and service to the tasks at hand. Prayer that I trust deeply in the rise of spiritual experiences to change death-giving systems. Prayers for Malcolm Jamal Warner. Prayers for my new job. Prayers for Sarah in Gaza City. May she find good food for herself and her family. May she find her way to the University of Tunisia that she wants to attend and find a love and live into old age. Prayers that I can trust myself more fully. Prayers that I express clearly the offering in my therapy practice to attract folks aligned to heal with me, and that I make enough money to cover living expenses. Prayers for my friend Angel working as a frontline medic in Ukraine. Prayers for those suffering in Ukraine and Gaza during this horrible time. Prayers for all people to be supported to birth naturally at home. May they be sung and drummed to, and yummy warming foods, postpartum massaging, and out of the state medical out of the state medical violence. And just continue to offer special prayers um, for all of us who are struggling to experience groundedness, wellness, stability, resilience. For all those transitioning into the Bardo spirit world in this moment, may the ancestors rise to hold them, to help them in their transition back as they continue their journey towards awakening. May all systems of violence be completely abolished as quickly as possible. May we be free. May we be resourced. May we be safe. May we remember who and what we are now. May we get free. May this come about as quickly as possible. May it be so. And turning our attention back to the last part of our mantra practice. And in this last part of the practice, I invite you to imagine that this radiance begins to infuse all the prayers that we've offered, including the aspiration that you offered at the beginning of our practice. May this blessing, this radiance, give a reality, give a realness to these aspirations so that they may actually come to fruition as quickly as possible. And to Medicine Buddha, once again we pray, may you awaken these prayer requests. May you make these prayer requests tangible and real. May these prayer requests bring about what we most need to happen for ourselves and for others right now. please make this so. So returning back to the mantra. 오태양 다음 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문같이 소하 대하라 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문같이 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문같이 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문같이 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문같이 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 대하다 옴 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수문가래 소하 Suha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Babeganze Razasumungate Suha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Razasumungate Suha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze ma beganze razasumungate soha deyanda beganze beganze ma beganze razasumungate soha. So turning your attention back to the medicine Buddha and the retinue in front of you, feeling the sky in front of you like twinkling little stars, and medicine Buddha like the moon radiating throughout all of it. We thank medicine Buddha and the retinue for everything, all the labor that they're doing to bring about the fruition of our prayers and everything that they're doing to work for our health and safety and well-being. Offering this deep appreciation, we imagine that medicine Buddha and the entire retinue accept this gratitude. And in pleasure and joy, they all begin to dissolve into this white light. And we absorb that white light into our heart centers. And all of our benefactors, our retinue around us also begin to dissolve into white light. And that white light is also absorbed into our heart centers, where the blessings of all of these beings will reside for as long as we stay connected to Medicine Buddha, and to all authentic teachers. And as long as we maintain this simple, direct, fierce aspiration to get free on behalf of all beings, so that we become the medicine all beings need. Allowing ourselves to come into the space of rest, letting everything simply be resting awareness within this non-conceptual, unlimited experience of space and emptiness. And so when you're ready, shifting your attention back to the seat, allowing the weight of your body to come back into awareness, noticing how the seat rises to hold you, feeling the foundation of the seat. Returning your attention also to the earth again, offering deep gratitude to the Mother who has held us and will continue to hold us through the practice of living as well as dying eventually. Beginning to reawaken our bodies both and through simple movements. And we just turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which will be in the chat box, which we will recite 3 times. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from my pain, may also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. All right. Thank you so much. And just to reiterate, I have this really nice little thingy here. I don't know what it's called. I do this because it sounds gay, and that's really all I do it for. So there's a little bit of identity spirituality here happening, but whatever. It's my fucking show. You know? Everyone's like, why do you do what you do? Why are you like this? I just, now I'm just telling people as soon as you become Lama Rod, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And that's it. That's it. Everyone always has some feedback, and I have feedback too. Um, I have time for one question because I really need to go put my face creams on. Um,
So if you have a question, please feel free
yeah,
to raise your hand and we
it'll be a
well,
quick, it'll be a quick answer because the creams are calling me.
mhm, mhm.
My face is saying moisture, moisture, hyaluronic acids, vitamin E, soon, vitamin A. Okay. A question about regression. Sure. Yes, who's that? Romy? Romy?
Yeah, but I don't think their mic is working.
Oh, okay. Can you type it in? Maybe. Well,
The past life regression?
past life? Now that's a whole can of worms.
That's a guess.
I'll take it in that direction.
Hello, is this working?
Yes. Yes. Hey.
Oh, great. Hi, thank you so much for deciding to take a question today.
Yeah.
Oh, just grabbed my mic, so I'm a bit puffed. Um, I, whoa, okay, I didn't expect to actually be able to ask. One sec. Um, yeah, I will just try and get it out. But I was forging a difficult path. I want to say, especially these past 10 years. Um, and not to get into it too much, but I have looked up to you as a teacher these past few years, especially amidst um, debilitation and chronic illness, and yeah, a lot of, I guess, yeah, physical, um, yeah, disability that came with my path, I guess. Um, and I guess I started trying to adapt my practice to some of the um, different body mind experiences I was having. Um, and anyway, I don't know if I can explain this properly, but um, essentially, I messed up at a crucial moment at the start of this year, and it's like I just fell um, like so hard off of my path, or I compromised what I was forging. And the pain of that has been so hectic um, that I've been kind of caught with all of this re-internalization of some pretty, yeah, awful conditioning. And I don't know, I just, something really big came up from my past and I didn't manage to meet it in the situation I was in. And this is as much a mental health question as a spiritual one, of course. But since March, I've been, yeah, regressed like 20 years internally, um, nonstop. And I find it quite dangerous to have been stewarding certain knowledges and then to kind of regress so hard and have all of my knowledges kind of scrambled all over the place and to just be yeah, trying to deal with that and not be spiritually abusive to myself now that everything is all over the place. Um and yeah, a big part of this I think is a question of shame. But yeah, just a big question about regression, especially in this moment where I think a lot of this rhetoric around apocalypse and the moment we're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I almost got taken out of my own spatio-temporality where I knew that this was always and already like this, that, you know, the state was always and already genocidal. And I was working on a path that was kind of like honoring that constant disposability and loss rather than kind of like being like, oh, wow, it's suddenly just emerged. But I think a lot of this language of the moment has really got to me and is making the shame about my regression and I don't know, the work that I wanted to do and offer. That yeah, I really messed up a moment at the start of the year. So anyway,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I have a really strong sense of where you're coming from, and I think in this moment, what the practice that's that's needed is just a lot of self-compassion and a lot of gentleness and a lot of self-care, right? We can definitely experience setbacks as regression, but I wonder if you can reframe that and maybe see this moment as just another part of the path moving forward, right? Because to know what is happening, I think, is a really big example of a lot of clarity in your practice. To name that takes a lot of clarity, a lot of courage, to do so. And I think that is really quite powerful, right? Because really, often, sometimes we have to go back some to figure out how to go forward, you know? It's almost like two steps forward, one step back is the pattern, right? I think it's so important to change that. Um, I think it's so important to oh, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. I think it's important to
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
yeah, two steps forward, one step back. Yeah. And to see that kind of stepping back or falling back as a way to kind of get a new perspective on the path. Instead of being so far along, sometimes we have to just kind of come back to get a different view of where we're going. And I think you're getting a different view of how to move forward in your practice. But again, the primary practice that I see for you is a lot of care, self-compassion, a lot of understanding that you're not alone. That there are many people who are experiencing the same type of regression, right? And it's easy to get wrapped up in this energy of collapse right now and the languaging around this. It's easy to feel like you're the one who's collapsing, even though it may feel like you're regressing, right? All that gets compounded into this narrative where it can be weaponized against yourself, self-weaponization, right? And this is where you just relax, like let go of this agenda about where you were or where you should be and just say, this is where I'm at. And I wonder what kind of space and how actually, just like we were doing in our practice, how can you invite the energy of the earth to hold this experience, the shame, the regrets, the fear, the frustration, right? There's so much frustration in my path, right? In my particular path, and I've learned how to understand that everything that arises is the path. Even if it feels like a setback, it's still the path. Even if I feel helpless or without agency, then that's still the path. How do you allow yourself to really just sit in this sense of helplessness or regret without doing anything about it, but just feeling and saying, there it is, there you go. Because that actual practice of awareness is the practice. There's no other practice but to know, to be aware of, and to allow, and then to respond to what is being allowed. Not just react, but to respond. And you need to, in this case, respond with compassion, with gentleness, right now. Looking at all the ways you're comparing your practice to other people's practice, right? This is your practice. This is your unique experience. What you're experiencing is what you need to be experiencing, even if it feels like a setback, right? And you just keep going, just to keep going on. Right? Keep going on. And so this is for all of us to recognize where we're at and to honor where we're at, even though if it feels like a lack of progress, we still honor it. Everything must be honored. Everything must be tended to with a lot of care, including the pain and the suffering, including the trauma and the despair and the hopelessness and the frustration. Like, make space for these experiences, allow them to be there, because that is the practice, right? And just to call in all the resources that you need. And this is why we did the practice that we did today, to call all your benefactors and have them to pray with you. As you make these aspirations, you want the whole team, you want all of your retinue together, right? Working for the same goal, you know. So I hope this is helpful as well.
Thank you so much for your answer. I think, like regressing 20 years, it definitely feels like more than one step back. So I'm gonna be trying to digest that for a while, but I really, yeah, I appreciate you speaking to this. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's a reason for everything. There's medicine in everything, even if it feels like a 20-year regression. Maybe that this is an invitation to return back to tend to something. Right? We only go back if there's something that's calling us back. Think of this as time travel, right? And once whatever is tended to needs to be tended to, you will continue forward. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful. Again, I'll see you next week, and I will see some of you in person in Durham as well, so which should be exciting. So thank you all again for your practice, and just keep on keeping on until we meet again. May you feel the protection and the love of all the Buddhas.